Marisa, I'm just going to say it again. You're at I can't even say it, HashiCorp, and you're the founder of a really awesome Instagram community called Design Team of One. So first off, I really want to talk about this because, and I told you this prior, a lot of people are starting to do content and some people aren't. I wanted to ask you why you started to do content. And for context, everybody, she has an audience of 14,000 on Instagram. So if you're not following her already, link down in the description. Grab it while you can, okay? She'll remember us when she's famous, all right? But I wanna ask you about that. Like, what started you on the? Were you thinking about personal branding? What started your thought process into building content, building a brand? Just run us through that.
Yeah. So before HashiCorp, I was with a startup. I was the only designer working with 30 plus engineers in the company. The company has around 50 plus people.
Yeah.
So we're small. And I kind of just had to do everything. Taking up responsibilities more than one person can handle, mostly. And so I was really looking for a community for design teams of one out there, for sole designers to, tell each other tricks and tips on, how to maybe do research a little quicker with limited budget, not having the support that is needed as much, and really having to evangelize design in a new environment. Apart from finding the book called UX Team of One, which I believe a lot of you know, there's really nothing out there. And so I really just thought maybe I could start something, maybe I can connect these sole designers together and form a community. And that's how it got started. That was mostly the goal, because wanting to fill the niche of design teams of one out there. There's definitely parts where I pivoted along the way, learning more about my community and people who kind of are interested in my content. But that's how it started. I wanted to make it sound more glamorous, but honestly, it was just last Christmas. My family and friends are not, they're all away. I'm based in Vancouver, but my family and friends, most of them are in Hong Kong, and also my family's in London right now. So I was just bored. Like, I was honestly just sitting at home, not knowing what to do. And I thought maybe I can get started. The goal definitely wasn't trying to, get 14K. Like, that wasn't really the goal. I just came along with the content, but I'm really grateful for just the designers I meet, and also bringing together people and having them talk among themselves is the best thing.
I agree, and the reason I wanted to ask you, well, first off, before we hop into that, ladies and gentlemen in the chat, who's thinking about creating content, who's thinking about creating a brand? Like, let us know. I know you guys are from also shout out to VDC in the house. And also Jarrell was good. So tell us a little bit, let's dive into community, because I think the first time we were talking, you had mentioned that your way into your position as of right now was through networking, or am I mistaken in that? Or
so with HashiCorp, not directly through my community, but with my previous role, actually, yes. So I wasn't as fortunate as some people where I create some content and some random person just come to me and hand me a job offer or an opportunity to interview. I definitely did not come across that, and I know a lot of people did, so kudos to them. But I think with technology being so much more reachable and advanced nowadays, like social media platforms just slowly become like your portfolio or your resume. It speaks a lot to your skills and characters, which you're not able to talk about during your interviews within that 15-minute or 1 hour time you have with a hiring manager or with a recruiter. And so my platform on Instagram was actually something that it turns out to be a talking point during my interview, and my manager loved it. He also reached out to me right after I haven't got the job yet, but we just had a conversation around sharing content, building a community, and yeah. Um, I so one thing I really like to share
Yeah.
is on my platform is kind of like or rather radical thinking of design. So I like to think about not just pushing pixels, not like how do you create a wireframe, but more like, oh, how would your work impact everyone around you, or
Yeah.
how would the product that you're working towards impact, the society or like our well-being. And so I think that those are areas where I am very passionate about and curious, and I would also love my audience to learn about that. So those are areas where it really clicked with people who are looking to hire, I guess, because I'm not just pushing pixels and thinking about the bigger context.
Yeah, I think like that's why I wanted to. I said this prior. Why I think it's super important is like there's many different ways of like showing yourself to potential employers. Where it's like, yeah, I can do the technical work, or it's like, oh, I actually have thoughts and show your personality, being able to convey ideas in succinct ways. Like that's stuff that your content is really able to convey to somebody. And I don't know what it is, but I think this is what happens when you're me and I just scroll through like newsletters or just news feeds and I'm like, oh, yep. I just think rather than reading everything, I just read all the headlines. But I think people are being hired just through like TikTok resumes, they're calling them. And because you know what I'm talking about?
Definitely. I think one skill that I was really able to practice during creating a platform on Instagram is really storytelling, and it's not a skill that I constantly think about. But when I first started, I mostly just focused on creating carousels, and you have to convey the message you want to deliver in like 10 slides. There's a limited space there, and you're trying to grab your audience attention and all that. So I think that really helped with my storytelling skills, and definitely showed during interviews and all that. So there's an indirect relationship between it's just building your own skill set and then showing it when the opportunity comes.
Yeah, so I know there's details in this because you're like, one day I just decided during the pandemic. And basically in my head I'm like, that lies. But like, you had to have done some of your homework with this. You had to be like, okay, well, this is what I want to do. Who kind of already does this? How can I learn from them? What are some of the things? Because we do have some people in the chat. We have UX Research Turtle. By the way, I love the freaking name. What advice from the stuff that you are producing? What are some of the places that you learned in regards to how you story told, or maybe some people that you were just like, you didn't learn anything? I'm just saying this because I'm like the copy master. People are like, where did you learn this shit? I'm like, I didn't learn anything. I just watched and I just watched and did. So what was it for you? Were there people, places, or things that you were kind of like studying to go in the direction that you wanted to, or it literally was just like pulled out of a hat and you were just like, oh, this worked? How did it go?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question, because I actually like to go a little bit, just provide the context, a little backstory here. I think the word self-promotion self-promotion, talking about yourself, is often seen as a negative thing, and some people, it's really common that people are uncomfortable with it. And I want to start off by saying that when I say self-promotion, I don't mean like holding a megaphone, like shouting to like another person. Like, that's not what I'm trying to say. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that self-promotion is actually just about building a reputation in a niche. And I find that with shifting my thinking towards that actually helped me overcome the fact that I feel like I'm bragging when I'm talking about my work. And that was really important to me just to get started. Before
Yeah.
Instagram, I am totally not a social media person. I don't even post pictures of my food, which a lot of people find, are interested in doing.
Yeah.
If you check out my personal Instagram, which is also public, but it's just for personal use, I have nothing on there. I don't, I'm just not a social media person. But I feel like just overcoming this thought of self self promotion being a negative thing really helped me get started. And also one blocker I think that a lot of people have is thinking about what to put out there. We all know that content is great. I bet everyone here have shared a YouTube video, a Medium article, a Twitter quote. We all like sharing content and we all like consuming content. But when it comes to creating content, an immediate blocker is I don't know what to talk about. There's already so much content out there. What would make me stand out? Why am I doing this? And the shift in thinking is that honestly, you just share what you know, share your journey, share your learnings. If you consider yourself a beginner as a designer trying to get into the field, you must have learned more than you must have known more than maybe 6 months ago or a year ago. Share that, even if it's just a tiniest part of your process, like how to get started with Figma, or how do I manage my files, or how do I like receiving feedback. Like those are the things where it actually provides a lot of value to other people, and you never know when your content actually hits the right person at the right time. Like that is just the most magical thing I found being on Instagram, is that people would message, would comment on a post saying that this is exactly what I need to hear today. This is exactly the thing I was going through today. And yeah, I think that overcoming those both things, knowing what to post and also feeling that I'm bragging myself when I'm talking about my work, is kind of how I got started after the shift in perspective.
I dig that, and I will second that. And before I start running my mouth, because I will lose track of the thing that I wanted to ask. By the way, guys, because of my bad with the audio, I was frazzled in the beginning. If you guys have questions while we're going at what it is that we're going at, feel free to drop them in the chat. We're here to, Marisa is here to answer the questions. If I can help, sure, awesome, I will shed some light. But I am not in the hot seat today. But I think that is really challenging for people, where it's like, oh, I want to be known for, and I think it's different type of people too, right? I think when we first talked, I was like, I just like to talk. But I just happened to be be known for somewhat, or prior to me moving into just talking and doing interviews and stuff like that, I'm known for design. But I'm just, I run my mouth regardless if I'm by myself or not. And for me, I'm not necessarily bragging about what I'm doing, but I'm just always talking, and if you just put me on camera, that's just going to be natural. But for somebody else, when somebody I think thinks of content, they're like, oh, I have to show my face, oh, I need to show my work, and that's typically what they think about. And for a lot of people, they get really confused. So they'll see, and this is just like my 2 cents, because I'm really curious about your thoughts on this, or your 2 cents on it. Is, for example, like I'm going back to my roots. Like for the longest time, I didn't produce any of my own original content. I just was essentially like a museum. I found like the hottest design work, and I just posted them 4 to 5 times a day on my channel. But that was branding me as, yo, Brandon knows what's hot in the game right now. It's kind of like a design hype beast in a sense. So you can be a curator, you can be a mouthy, like myself. You can, like what we're doing here, I'm finding the other people, even though this is the 3rd episode, I want to talk to cool people who have cool things happening, so you can be a facilitator. You can show people the technical stuff that that is possible, or even help with how to think through things in design. So there's a lot of ways of doing things, and I just wanted to say that for those of you guys in the chat who are interested in content, because that's something that I struggled with too, and I'm actually curious with what you're building now. Like, do you see it going in a certain type of way? Do you know what it is that you want to build? Because it sounds like you were like on a boring Sunday, and during COVID-ing. The video's gonna already get banned, guys. Why did I even say the word? You know, now you have a platform. What are you going to do with it? Do you have plans? Have you seen things that you are already starting to benefit from in having a platform? If you can enlighten us on some of those things.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that I actually didn't start out my platform thinking that it's for self-promotion. I did not want to show my face. I was trying everything possible to not show my face. Um, as you can tell, my icon is still just my logo. And this is something I learned along the journey, is that people actually want the personal touch to the content I create. And so as much as I did not want to show my face at the beginning, I kind of embraced it. Starting doing reels a lot and putting my face on, talking a little bit more about myself outside of what I do, outside of design, and how everyday stuff inspire my work and the stuff I do. And it's definitely along the way where I think more about, okay, so who am I? Like, who do I want to be known for?
Yeah.
What do I not want to be known for? And I think that is an important question to ask yourself. I think for me, I kind of just definitely there was this session where I did with myself on like thinking about the mission statement of like the platform. Not to get too serious here, but I guess just really thinking about what you want to be known for. So there are two parts to being on a platform. I think it's depending on what you're trying to get with it, but mostly there's skills and character. With skills, I particularly chose to be super niche. So I really want to focus on people who kind of have to function within a space as a sole designer. That's also something I learned along the way, which is I thought it would only be people who works at startup or kind of like not big companies or big agencies. But it turns out that even when you work in a big company, you can be the only designer in a team. You can be the only designer with a product. So that kind of reassured me in thinking that my content is actually useful. But so that's the skills part. Like, I want to be known as an expert of how to function as a sole designer. And then with the character part, it's kind of how a lot of the opportunities kind of keep coming from. I think it's important to, outside of your skills, be able to come across as whatever you want people to think of you as. For me, it's really being genuine and really challenging the status quo is kind of my thing. So I think with that, I had I partnering with a lot of different companies. One of my favorite is Contra, which is a no commission
Contra
job board, or not really a job board, but they are a no commission site platform for freelancers to find their gigs. And I think just the way they disrupt the industry and what is currently available right now out there, it's very new to me, and so I would love to be part of it. And the reason why I got that is only because I think the people I talk to from Contra, they understand my values, they understand my mission, and they just see the alignment there. So really thinking about what skills you want to put out, what characters you want people to see from you, and then kind of just your mission statement on why you're doing this at the first place. I hope that answered the question.
No, that is. I think the thing is, like, the guys don't hit me on my math, all right? The one or two, the phrase, all right, what you want to be known for. I was about to try to count how many words that was, so you guys are going to shoot me for that. But your content shows people not just, you're a designer, but when you're showing all of the things that you're capable of bringing to the table, and you can see that through content, you're able to partner with different people and not just be hired like, because this is the thing. If we go to school, I'm gonna have to have a disclaimer, all right? I didn't go to college. I know some of you guys went to college, but just hear me out. But when you have a resume, and it's pretty static, right? You can only tell so much from a resume until you meet somebody, and that's really the purpose of an interview. You don't necessarily have if you're hiring for a position and you're like, well, I just need somebody to like crop these photos, or you need like somebody to edit photos, you need somebody to do UI UX for a website. That's the problem that you're having at the moment, and that's what you're trying to solve as somebody who's in the company hiring. But if you're somebody who wants actually control of your career, being able to show all aspects of you, which content helps you do, allows you to position yourself to partner with Contra. If you just had your resume, right, you would, did I say it wrong? Okay. How do you say it?
Contra, that's right.
Contra? Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. So, yeah, you're able to do so much more because people will like you for who you are, like you for your ideas, like you for the fact that you do technical stuff as well. And if you are only able to communicate what it is you do through a piece of paper, you are behind. You are doing yourself like a disservice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, before I started on Instagram, I actually, so before HashiCorp and before another startup, I kind of used, my only social media presence was Dribbble. Please don't check out my Dribbble. It's very
we going
not
right
polished. Now. But I put my work up there, and 3 months into the job, my manager, we had a one-on-one, and she told me that I actually got hired because of one of the pieces on Dribbble. And she just said it looks very different from what we see all the time. And we decided to take a bet. And that's how I got the job. So it was really interesting just hearing that. I totally did not expect anything on my Dribbble is worthy to be hired for. But also because I haven't touched it for a while. But yeah, you never know when the opportunities come. You honestly, building self-promotion is also not about the numbers. You don't need hundreds or thousands of followers. You only need that one person to see your work, appreciate your work, and give you the opportunity.
Exactly. Actually, that brings up a good point too. A lot of people I saw something yesterday and I thought it was freaking hilarious. If you guys, one of my favorite podcasts is, wow, I can't even remember the name of the podcast. Great. It's just like pure sadness. But it's by David Shands. I think it's something about don't sleep. I don't know. It's a hustle podcast, whatever. It's Black owned. But he made a post yesterday. He was like, I know somebody who has 1 million followers, but cannot help their daughter sell their Girl Scout cookies. Like a single box, 1 million. Like how can you, if you don't have, granted, they might be in like a technology space, like what are you gonna do with, I don't know all the details. But it's more so about the quality of people that you have. Like for example, the people who are in like your inner circle are people that you know personally. You're more likely to show up for them, and they're more likely to show up for you versus somebody who on the internet may have come across your stuff, found it helpful once, but never really came back. So it's how many people are you able to, this sound really bad, how many people are you able to touch in a quality fashion and able to impact their life in a positive manner? And I forgot the question I actually wanted to ask you, because, and I appreciate you guys asking the questions. That this is actually a lot to manage both and go back and forth. I'm like, shit, we gonna have to wait for the 15 minutes towards the end of this so I can actually go through. So we're gonna leave the last 15 minutes to actually go through that because you guys are asking good questions and I can't like think and read that at the same time. Yeah, so with this happening, you're seeing you can do more than just design, and this is really just the beginning. Do you think you will continue to pursue design, or you will stay in that kind of vertical and maybe try out some other things as you are building your platform? Like, what are your thoughts in your trajectory now that you're like, you even talked about here, like, oh, yeah, I'm in the position that I am now with your job, your career, but now you're seeing like, oh, there's potential for so much more. I can actually, partner with these other companies. Like, what do you see for yourself? Or are you like, we're good where we're at and we're gonna work out where we can hear? Like, where are you at?
Yeah, I think there's two areas that I'm thinking about. One is platform. Instagram, after all, at the end of the day, it's not I don't own Instagram. If one day Instagram breaks down, like, October 4th, then my community is gone. There's definitely a lot of people who I connected personally, and I know that they will be around forever. But it's just unfortunate to think that maybe one day, this platform that is not owned by me would, anything that happens to it would affect me.
Yeah.
So expanding on platforms is actually one thing I'm thinking about. I also did realize that for the type of content I'm trying to put out, which is more reflective, like a lot of talking videos where I really enjoy doing, it's really hard to convince someone or share a perspective in a 30-second reel. And so YouTube, I'm considering that. Maybe TikTok, expanding my reels. So just thinking about a bunch of platforms is one. And then the other thing is partners. So like you said, I am very grateful to be able to partner with some of the companies I really like Contra and Maze. Because I do think they are doing great things, and I want to, promote it. I want to contribute to their success. I want to contribute to their growth. So really just finding those people out there, finding those companies out there, and seeing what we can make something great out of the collaboration.
Yeah! Amen. I know you can't hear that sound effect, but I had Little John support you right there.
Oh, nice. Love it.
This is why we were having audio trouble earlier, guys, because I wanted to introduce these new soundboard things and have Marisa hear them, but neither of us can hear them now because I messed up.
Good.
But yeah, I think I'm trying to tie two things together. What you just said, and then going back to what I was trying to say with the David Shands thing in that podcast. You want to build relationships and partnerships with the right people, and if you're able to do that without social media, there's people who are billionaires without like any social media. Social media is a very easy tool to just network in the DMs. You can have like 5 followers. That really doesn't mean anything. But if you're able to convey what you have of value to somebody else who might need that, and you have done the research to be like, very evidently, these people that I'm talking to need the thing based on my research that I have for them, and you just insert yourself to finish, to help round them out. That's one, you've done the research for them to realize that you're the solution to their problem that they're having, and you have already done the research to figure out, without them saying that they have this problem and you're gonna help them fix it, you're like, hey, without you having to tell me, I have all this stuff, when can we rock? And that's what's valuable. Like, some of my friends have been like, Brandon, why you've been off of IG? Your shit is tanking. And I haven't posted legitimately in like 6 months. And the thing is like, when you have your stuff seen, because I'm just gonna word vomit here. But in the beginning, and this is for you guys in the chat too, I just wanted to, because I think this is valuable as well. In the beginning, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, literally my Instagram was like, I see cool shit, I'ma post it. I had thought of nothing of it. Except that I'm lazy and I'm not trying to go find those things again. So I just put them on Instagram. And then people like you are reaching out to you and being like, yo, this is helpful. I now know what's out there, kind of thing. And then you start to build relationships like you're building relationships, and you're realizing you can partner with other people. And then when you learn that, you realize, oh, it's not about the followers. It's not about I didn't even have to do all that. However, the pathway of realizing that I was of benefit to people, realizing that, and then a little bit more into that, you realize like, oh, this is what people value from what I have. And I actually can go out and pick people without social media to continue to build out my partnerships and continue to like double down on my value proposition. That's what I think a lot of people don't understand. It's not the number, like you said, it's through all of that, the stuff that you realize. And I tried to like package that in a box because we talked about it in a whole bunch of different ways, but I kind of wanted to streamline it. So
Yeah, I wonder if some people. So I purposely did not talk about SEO or how to, use the right hashtags and all that.
Right.
All those are important, but they are not. They're just how people discover you. So think of a YouTuber or influencer you really like.
Yeah.
You follow them, maybe because you Googled like how to use a tool, or you kind of saw them in your For You page. But at the end of the day, you respect them because they've been reiterating the first impression over and over again with the content they put out. And it's not a numbers it's not a numbers game, and it's also a long-term game that you really have to play. Like I said, self-promotion is about building a reputation in a niche, and you don't want a one-hit wonder. You want long-term success. You want to be able to really, whatever success means to you, and you're also able to really impact the people around you.
Agreed, and that's I was really excited to hear you say YouTube, because as much as I love Instagram, that's where I started. It's just like how, and I have to say this with TikTok, I do like some things about TikTok, because you don't really have to search it. It's just like all right there. Mind you, all of my stuff is like smothered with conspiracy theories. I'm really trying to get out of that right now, trying to move into NFTs. But yeah, like YouTube, 2 years from now, you can make some content. Someone could search what it is and they find it. But on Instagram, that shit is like dead unless you post it again.
Yeah,
so yeah.
I guess I need some cool graphics to get started on YouTube.
Well, you are welcome on this show as long as we can get the audio figured out. So thank you. Yes, happy to share. All right, how are you on time? Because we are moving into the Q&A, but I would love to continue chatting. So it's really up to you.
Yeah, I'm good.
You're good on time? All right, so let's run through some of these, guys. You guys were typing up a storm. I'm glad you guys like the sound effects. You guys are the only ones who can hear that shit today, so enjoy. All right, let's see. Questions for Marisa. I swear the dyslexia is going to aid me very much in these moments like these. Okay, I highlighted one earlier. All right, so Carmel is asking, what advice would you give to someone who is about to start looking for a UI UX job? I'm working on my portfolio right now, excited but very nervous. We'll start with that. You'll answer, and then I will continue with my dyslexia to read.
Right. No, so this is a very typical question I get during my mentorship sessions, and I'm very tempted to just not, I know you'll hate this, but I don't want to just give out an answer. I think there's no cookie cutter into how to get a job. There's definitely a lot of things that people talk about, like networking, portfolio, preparing for your interviews, and all of those are important. But whenever I have a mentorship section, I just start with asking the question. So, where are you stuck at right now? What do you find most challenging? What do you think, if you have achieved, that it would help you in this job search process? So if you're interested, whoever asked this question, feel free to book a mentorship session with me on ADPList. I'm not trying to promote myself here. I guess I just really want a curated answer for you. And so I would start by asking those questions, the ones that I just asked, and understanding where you're stuck most at, and then understanding what steps you can take towards solving those challenges that you're facing.
Yeah! Exactly.
I hope that was helpful.
I think because if you were to give a general answer, which it's the easiest thing to do, because you don't know all the context somebody has. So it's what we can do at the time. So I think it's the one, yes, we are here to promote you. What are you talking about? Two is, yes, book some personal time with Marisa. Mm-hmm. And like that stuff is valuable. Like, yeah, we can give you like that's why also, 1 hour's fireside chats are like, everybody gives like the generic answer, but it's very difficult based on like, what do you have? What don't you have? Where are you? Where are you trying to go? Like those things need to be answered for somebody to give you like a proper answer. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think it was Carmel. Link in the description. Holler at her on ADPList.
Looking forward to talking to you, Carmel.
Yes. Devin, the designer, is asking, what was the freelance site Marisa mentioned? Was that the Contra?
Oh, yes. Contra.
So what is that exactly? You said it was a job board. What is that exactly?
So it's not exactly a job board. So how they promote themselves is kind of LinkedIn crossover with Shopify. So they are kind of a social media platform, but it's really focused on community, and it's mostly targeted towards freelancers. And the way the one thing that they are so different from websites like Fiverr or Upwork is that it's zero commission. So they don't try to make a profit throughout the process of you trying to find a client, and they're every step, in the journey of you trying to land a freelancing gig. So it's for free. You can sign up and set up your portfolio there. Honestly, it also works so well as a digital resume. If you go on the Contra website and put up your stuff up there, they take care of the SEO stuff, so that's great. And I just really like them because of how different they are with the commission thing, and then also their emphasis on community.
All right. Let me see. I hope that answered your question, guys. I like the fact that they don't take a commission. I think that's nice. Let's wait till they get large, and then they're like, we are going to take 25. No, I'm playing. I'm sure they're cool. Let me see here. Also, Strawberry shout out. Brandon sounds like one of the funniest people around. I appreciate it. I'm glad that the craziness that you guys is something that you enjoy. But there's a couple other good questions here. I'm trying to organize which one to ask first. A lot of you guys, also I appreciate you guys, Jarrell, Fergie, you're answering some of these in the chat, but I do want to give them to you also, Marisa, to hear what you say. So we have Strawberry Moss is asking.
Lovely.
This was geared towards Jarrell, but I think you can answer. How would you recommend someone who is just starting out to position themselves to start applying? Is it okay to use aspiring UX designer?
Sorry, the question is when to start applying to jobs?
So I will probably have to rephrase the question, but this is how it's stated, and I'll try to rephrase it. So it's saying, How would you recommend someone who is starting out to position themselves to start applying to jobs? Is it okay to use or call themselves an aspiring UX designer?
So if anything, start applying even though you don't feel you're ready, because we never feel like we're ready for a job or like an opportunity. I don't feel like I'm ready to talk here today. Like, I just have to do it. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of just a challenge. Like, feeling ready it's not a thing. We all have imposter syndrome. It's just gotta do it. So a typical portfolio, I would recommend to have at least 3 case studies. That's like the bare minimum, and also just good to have like an array of stuff that you can show your skills and characters. But honestly, as long as you have like stuff that you can show the recruiters or hiring managers that you're able to, fulfill what they're looking for, then just get started. Don't think that you have to feel like you're ready, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And to chime in there too, because that's actually, I'm about to, some people might not like this answer, but we're going to shoot it anyway. What's very challenging for whether you're coming out of college or you're coming out of a course institution, they give you cookie cutter things, and that's great. It gets you a lot of the way there, but a lot of the stuff that they leave out, even if they hold your hand to be hired, is they leave out how to make sure that you know what the other side of the table is expecting in terms of what they're looking for to hire. And of course, yes, they have their job listings, whatever, but the easiest way to know exactly what they're looking for is go to LinkedIn. Where are you applying? Who's on their team already? What's in their portfolio? How did they talk about that stuff? And literally, if they had the right answer that got them in the seat that you're trying to be in the position that you want, copy the shit that's in their portfolio, the way that they talk about it, use the exact same words that they're using, and use those type of things for your projects. If you don't have any of the projects that they have in their portfolios, you know where you need to be investing some of your time to look the part. That's literally it. If you have a direction, you need to know how to look the part of that organization or group of people. If I'm, you know what, that was gonna be really rotten. If I'm somewhere and, you know, if your friend group or whatever, you guys have like a lingo and you have like an outsider, somebody who's not been a part of your crew, and like they try to tell a joke that isn't like funny to your crew, you guys are like, what's going on? But in their head, they're like, no, that shit was funny though. And you can tell that that individual is not part of your group, and you guys are not part of what he or she was expecting in terms of a reaction didn't happen. So you have to like do your CIA work and be like, look, I'm about to infiltrate this organization. What type of language do they speak? What is in and what is out? What do they expect? Like, you have to do all that information, and it's more than just technical stuff. So do your reconnaissance work. I actually have a mini course that literally like, and it's free, that's gonna take you guys through all this. So if you're interested in all that, just stay tuned to the YouTube channel, like the video, and subscribe. All right, other than that, next question. All right, so Cassandra is asking, how did you shift your focus from bragging to self-promotion? What was the aha moment for you? What was kind of the thought process? How did you make this shift? Mentally.
Yeah. So I don't think there's a aha moment. It's more like understanding what I'm trying to do, and maybe people still think that, like maybe people seeing your work still think that you're bragging your work, but it's more like what you think yourself, and that's more important than how people perceive it. Because like I said, you can't please a whole crowd. You honestly just need that one person to see your work and appreciate your work. But the switch in perspective is mostly on thinking that it's bragging, but more about building a reputation in a niche. So I think I know I repeated this a lot of times, but that's how I understand it and kind of supported me throughout the journey. Yeah, it's not that, I guess it's not rocket science. It's more important the journey that you take to realize that. Yeah, I don't have more to add. I wish I have.
I don't think you need to add any more to that, because it's really not. And that's why it's really odd we talk about these things, but the majority of it is like, it's not like the 1, 2, 3 tricks and tips. It's because there's literally like 10,500,000 that, mind my math or whatever. I don't know how numbers work, all right? I just know there's commas. But there's a million ways of doing something, and the only thing that matters is how did you do something? Because when you do something, you'll learn, oh, well, that isn't what is going to, that didn't work. Well, let me try something else. Well, this one piece did work, but this really didn't. So let me keep this portion and try to take some advice that maybe I've heard, and maybe I'll try, like, maybe I listen to 5 different people that do it 5 different ways. Let me try 5 different ways on top of the little piece that worked for me. So a lot of this stuff, guys, even though it is, Marisa has done some really awesome stuff in a very short amount of time, but she's done it in her way. And, even me, I don't even know how to express what I've been able to do, other than I've been waking up to fall on my face every morning. And surprisingly, just through falling throughout the day, I realized what not to trip over and what to trip over. So I think that's really what you're saying. You're like, I can sit here with you guys for 5 more hours and say the same stuff over and over again, but it's not until you try all the things that you've really listened to from other people and really just see what's working with what you have in your hand.
Yeah, I think it's also really helpful for me to think about what I see and the content I consume. When I see someone share a Medium article on the psychology rules of design, I don't think that they're bragging about what they know. They're just sharing, and I think there's a lot of learning opportunities there, whether it's connecting the right content to the right person or helping a group of people start conversations. So when I see it that way, I understand that if I put content out to the world, it's also, it depends on the tone and the stage that you set, but it doesn't have to be only about bragging.
Yeah, and there's a million in 20. You could be literally Jake Paul, or you could be. There's a million ways you can spin the thing.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So you just gotta realize: would you like to become Jake Paul? Would you like to be yourself? You have to, and that's the thing. You know, the coolest thing about social media, and like when you actually, not even social media, when you actually like tune into what it is that you have that literally no one else could do. Like, for example, who the hell's gonna be this dumb like on a live stream? Me only. Like, who buys this? Nobody. Me. And like Marisa, you have like, what for you? What has been like the one thing you're like, only I can bring this to the table in the way that I bring it to you? And we'll leave that there, and then our last gem for today will be anything that you would like to leave our audience.
Yeah. Sorry, could you repeat the question again?
Yeah, go. I saw you look like down to the left, and you were like, "What time is it, mother sucker?" You're basically like, it's been a while. It's been a long time. And so my question was, if I can remember it, is have you kind of realized how, like, yes, you're in the design industry and you are giving tips and tricks, but is it in a way that is unique to you? And if you're cognizant of what that way is, can you explain it to us?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm thinking of two things. One is that I really like sharing things that maybe it's not so apparent on my platform, but as a designer, I find that I get inspired by a lot of things outside of design. And I like to share that. Maybe I should do more of that now that we talk about it. But that's one. And another is, honestly, I did talk about this. It's just like challenging the status quo and complaining. I'm not really complaining, but reflecting on the negative impact that technology, capitalism, businesses have on our everyday lives, and how maybe design can be a tool to, empower communities to navigate through that. It's often not an easy topic to talk about, and I'm very proud of being able to talk about these stuff on my platform. There's this one book that I preach. It's called Design Justice. People who've been following for a while know that. Read the book. It will change how you see design, and these are the things that I really want to, just promote and hope that more people are aware of that.
Design Justice. I like it. Everybody go purchase. I don't have a Amazon thing down below, but go holler and buy Design Justice. So what is, in closing, if you guys don't have any more questions, we'll take one if it's a good one, okay? If it's a good one. But while that is coming through, what is one thing that you would like to leave our audience for today, and where can we find you?
Yeah. So one thing I like to emphasize is that building your personal branding is not a numbers game. It's a long-term, not a one-hit wonder game. If you want to build your reputation in a niche, which is how I understand self-promotion as, you really got to put in the time and effort, and it's worth it, because like I said, you only need that one person who see your work, appreciate your work, and give you the opportunity to fulfill your mission. You can find me on LinkedIn, LinkedIn, Chan Marisa is kind of like the URL. On Instagram is Design Team of One, and also ADPList.
Cool beans. Well, you heard it from her, ladies and gentlemen. You can find all those links down in the description. Marisa, I want to say a huge thank you for coming out, and I know you got a lot to do today, so I appreciate you coming and hanging out with all of us. And yeah, guys, don't forget to follow Marisa, and also if you want to see more cool people dropping gems like this, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like this video, because there will be more. Other than that, that's it, and we'll see you next time. Bye, Marisa.
Bye, Brandon.
Bye. All right, guys, peace. We'll see you guys on the next one. With that said, enjoy your day, and we'll smell you later. Peace. Gonna go get some pizza. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today for Delicious Discussions. We hope you got all the answers to the questions your hearts desired. If you still have some questions for us, either our guests or myself, links to our socials and other forms of chatting with us are in the links in the description. Also, do not forget to subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed today's episode so that you get notifications the next time we go live with another amazing guest. And lastly, if you're looking to have insightful chats with friendly mentors and the ability to book and learn from over 3,146 mentors from world-class companies, whew, that's a mouthful, join the ADPList global community today at ADPList.org. With that said, I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day, and we'll see you on the next one. Your favorite host, Brandon Groce, out.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.